MYSUARA FM.
Hello, MYSUARA FM Citra Generasi Informatif. Sekali lagi kita kembali pada pagi Jumaat ini jam 10 hingga jam 11 pagi dalam segmen Fun Friday with English bersama yang dibawakan bersama Universiti Utara Malaysia Kuala Lumpur. Dan macam biasa panel kita pagi ni, Ms.Wan, hi, how are you?
Hi, Assalamualaikum and good morning.
Morning to you. How are you?
I'm good. How about you, Arin?
I'm good too, thank you. Okay, what's our topic today?
Alright, so as promised, our topic for today's slot, Fun Friday with English, it's about translation.
Oh, translation.
Yep, translation issues, and one of them is the use of Google Translate. Have you ever used Google Translate, Arin? Of course.
Of course. Sometimes when I have a conversation with someone, then suddenly
Straight away.
Suddenly I forgot the word. The forget apa?
How to construct the sentences. Normally you use it from bahasa to English or English to bahasa?
Malay to English.
Malay to English.
Yes.
You are about to answer him him.
Why him? Him or her?
Okay, you're about to answer your friends in English, but you think in Malay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because sometimes usually if I use a Google Translate, that's because of I miss the
vocabulary. Correct.
So I'm not put the sentences. I just find the vocab.
Find the vocab.
Yeah.
Why don't you just use dictionary? Just a question. I wonder.
Because now it's a technology, right? And when you with someone, you just simply open the link.
Open the link. Yeah, so it's easier.
Just type translate, then
Google Translate.
Yes.
Oh, that is in terms of finding the words.
Yeah.
How about the full sentences? I used to do it in using full sentences. How about you?
Sometimes.
And
but in short
one.
Because I know the weakness of the
Yes.
Google Translate.
The weakness of Google Translate. One of them is what do you think of that?
Accuracy,
ketepatan, accuracy of in terms of what? There are a few things falling into it. So that is somehow the introduction of our topic for today that we're going to discuss. All right. So
maybe after this week.
Yes, after this. But just to tell the listeners, just an insight. We're going to discuss in terms of two perspectives.
Yeah.
The first one is in terms of language, which means from the, grammar-wise. Second one is in terms of the translation itself. All right. So stay tuned because after this, we're going to talk more about it.
Yeah, MYSUARA FM. Okay, MYSUARA FM, Citra Generasi Informatif. Kita berada di dalam segmen Fun Friday with English. Today our topic is Google Translation, is it?
Yeah, Google Translate.
Okay.
All right. So, speaking of translation, actually language and translation are, able to play their significant roles. Penting ni translation in bridging diverse communities, through dissemination as well as transfer of information. Information dissemination means penyebaran maklumat.
Information?
Dissemination. Okay, how we spell it? D-I double S. Bagus DJ ni Salin. D-I-S-S-E-M-I-N-A-T-I-O-N. Dissemination. We disseminate info. Means kita penyebaran. Yes.
Okay.
Kita berkongsi-kongsi information, menyampaikan. So that is why through translation, the information will be disseminated. So kita menggerakkan pengetahuan itu melalui translation. That is why certain nation like people in Japanese, there are, I would say, some of the technology they got it through translation. Dia memindahkan pengetahuan itu melalui translation because they really uphold to their language. So same thing as Indonesia.
Yeah.
But still they can be further. Still they can develop the nations. Okay, even though bahasa tu, it shows that bahasa tu bukan penghalang.
Ya, betul.
Yes.
Yeah.
Alright, so in today's digital era, automation in translation, okay, is claimed to enable the production of translation in many folds. Automation in translation, one of them is Google Translate.
Yeah.
Alright. So however, in discussing the products of automated translation or the output, sebenarnya output tu hasil, you know, the results of the translation work done by Google Translate, itu yang kita, that is something that we argue about. There is also a translation quality that needs to be considered. The quality. Now we are talking about the quality. Memang maksud ni kadang-kadang sampai. Okay, the message conveyed, you know, something that we can comprehend, we can understand it. Okay, but speaking of in terms of, you know, language wise, in terms of the quality, it is not there. Okay, all right. And translation quality evaluation in automated or machine translation, kita panggil, actually we call things like Google Translate and other software related to translation as machine translation. It involves many layers and perspective. Banyak pandangan orang bagi pasal ni. And this includes the evaluation methods, the criteria of evaluation and system evaluation itself. This is actually, just to share with all listeners, this is something that I presented. This is a research done by me and my friends, another lecturer from UKM, Noor Yusuf. This is something that I presented in one of the international conferences in Singapore. The topic is evaluation of English in machine translated text from Malay language. And from the research, there were two aspects of findings. The first one is in terms of language. All I can say is, from language wise, okay, there are a few things like, for example, error in, let me see. Okay, for example, some of them is error in passive tenses. Contoh, contoh. In bahasa, jika SUV, okay, the text goes like this. Jika SUV bersaiz besar berharga lebih RM145,000 dianggap sukar dimiliki oleh pembeli. Alright. Itu bahasa yang, you know, standard bahasa, I would say that's business language. But when it's translated to English, it becomes, if large size SUV worth over RM145,000 considered difficult to own by the buyers. So it shows that they are avoiding passive voice verb. They cannot read. Tak boleh nak baca. Kalau passive voice, if you, okay, I taught you once about passive voice, something yang diterbalikkan. Contohnya, I kick the ball. So kalau passive voice, the ball is kicked. Okay, by me. Is kicked. So the formula of forming passive voice is we need to have verb to be plus past participle. And somehow or other, Google Translate, you know, this software, they tend to forget or omit, dia keluarkan verb to be tu. So macam in terms of grammar wise tak ada. This is not something like poetic writing or something else, because kalau macam things like poem and all, you tahu kan, poem kita bebas daripada grammar. Things like that can be considered as okay, but this is not, because this is actually newspaper. Okay, something that, you know, shared and read by a lot of people. So tak boleh lah, yeah? Tak boleh kalau tak ada grammar yang betul. So that is in terms of that. How about in terms of acronym and proper noun? Pun banyak salah. Okay, acronym, contoh acronym. Okay, first of all, I explain what does it mean by acronym. Acronym ni
singkatan.
Yes, singkatan. Contoh Chief Executive Officer of Coast Economic Region Development Council. So jadi CERDC something macam tu. Okay, contohnya same thing as UUM, University Utara Malaysia. So the acronym of UUM, University Utara Malaysia is UUM, singkatan kan. Okay, but unfortunately Google Translate, they cannot read it. Dia tak boleh kalau nak translate tu dia tak boleh nak baca. Okay, banyak contohnya macam bantuan mula help start climbing, for example. Help start climbing, HSA. Okay. Tetapi bila di translate kan bantuan mula mendaki. So macam pelik.
Different
Yes,
meaning.
yes. Ni lagi best. The name of the company. Okay. Name or program of companies actually should not be translated. Okay. Tapi yelah, they can't read it. So yeah, they are not human being, right?
Machine, right?
Yes. So it must actually remain as proper noun. Contohnya Puncak Semangat Sundian Berhad. Ni kelakar.
Dia nama lah.
Puncak Semangat Sundian Berhad. So it was translated as Peak Spirit Sundian Berhad. Okay.
That's one of the.
Yes. That's one thing. Pengurusi Puncak Semangat, it refers to a person. So it becomes excitement peaks chairman. Macam chairman tu macam seronok pula. Di puncak keseronokan. So you can change the whole meaning of the whole thing.
Okay, so kita berehat dulu. Selepas ni kita kembali lagi dalam topik Google Translate di MYSUARA FM, Citra Generasi Informatif. MYSUARA FM, Citra Generasi Informatif. Okay, let's continue our topic today, Google Translate.
Google Translate issue. All right. So, speaking of, the error analysis, we are now discussing error analysis of Google Translate. Now we talk about the use of, acronym, proper noun, what else? Passive sentence. All right. There are a few other things that we can focus on, which is punctuation. There are actually also punctuation errors found in the translated text. But as long as the translation is still easily comprehended, which means understood, selagi boleh faham by the readers, these errors represent only, I would say, minor disturbance. Macam gangguan kecil. But still, adalah orang kata punctuation errors tu kan. So some of the examples, I would say, the use of, punctuations involve the dot, comma, even capital is also punctuation, right? So the use of capital letter for proper noun, di sini ada masalah ni. For example, macam ni, GST, good and GST stands for, I remember one
government.
Hey,
sorry.
GST government. Goods,
services
and services, tax. Yes, correct. I still remember one of the reality shows. Kan ada dia tanya,
what is GST?
What GST stands for? So masa tu I was like, yelah tak, we can't just gossip lah. We can't just say that the contestant doesn't know. Probably there are a lot more people who do not know, including me at that time. I pun masa tu kita macam terlepas pandang, GST, we just simply say GST. Every day we talk and lament about it, but we don't really know what does it mean. So that's how ignorant we can be sebenarnya. Alright, so okay, coming back to Google Translate. Speaking of the errors, the use of capital letter for proper nouns, sometimes they mislook about it. So in other words, for those who use Google Translate, do not give 100% trust and confidence in using it, because there are still a lot of things that you need to murnikan, vet. You kena vet balik. VET means kita murnikan balik.
Vet,
Yes. For example, for lecturers, after coming out with our exam questionnaire, kita ada vetting process. Vet means proses pemurnian. Kena check balik semua. Yes, penabisan.
Pemutihan orang panggil.
Oh, really? Just to check on the quality lah. Alright. Then, Google Translate also has inconsistency issues. Tak consistent. Kalau consistent, consistency, right? So inconsistency, tidak consistent. Alright, Google Translator has been very consistent in using. You have to know, So to all listeners, you have to know that Google Translate dia pakai American English.
Yes.
Yes.
Because
American English.
Base of Google.
I think because of the Microsoft something. However, the consistency does not take place in the use of certain vocabulary. Memang dia pakai American English, but ada certain vocabulary dia tak pakai. Okay, because I think in previous slots, I did talk about the difference between American English and British English, right? So British English and American English, these two versions of English, it varies in terms of a few things like spelling, pronunciation, and vocabulary itself. Okay, for example, contohnya we talk about nak kata inconsistency diorang ni, selain daripada American dengan British English, dia ada juga inconsistency dari segi vocabulary. Contoh, kita pakai ringgit.
Yes.
We use ringgit. So in Malay text, you pakai memperolehi keuntungan daripada kejatuhan ringgit, for example. And then when it was translated, it becomes high losses to profit from the fall instead of dollars. So dia pakai dollars. But bila you translate lagi sekali, ditukar balik ringgit. Sekejap ringgit, sekejap dollar, sekejap ringgit, and coming back to dollars. So things like that happen. So that's why we need to really check on that. Alright. So banyak lagi lah inconsistency lain. For example, I would say like cookies and biscuits. You know, cookies sekejap dia pakai cookies, sekejap dia pakai biscuits. Tu yang kata inconsistency. Because cookies American English, biscuits British English. So it varies there. That is actually in terms of language. Now, let me talk about I would say the from the aspects of translation itself.
Maybe after this.
Oh, okay. After this.
Okay, so
stay tuned.
kita rehat dulu, dengarkan lagu ini. MYSUARA FM, Citra Generasi Informatif. Okay, jom kita ada masa panjang lagi dalam 20 minit macam tu lagi berada dalam segmen Fun Friday with English. Banyak lagi boleh dibincangkan. Okay, teruskan Ms.Wan.
All right, thank you. All right, so to the listeners who just joined us, let me give some insights for you. We are now discussing on issues regarding or pertaining to Google Translate. Because is it appropriate, I mean, in terms of the output? Because some people might argue on the quality of the Google Translate, actually, which is true. Because okay, I have come up with a preliminary attempt to evaluate English to Malay machine translation, which is Google Translate. Okay, when we talk about preliminary attempt means kajian awal. Okay, my preliminary research. So this study first explained on translation evaluation framework. Okay, and the results it touched on a few aspects. One of them is the language wise itself. Second one is the is in terms of the translation itself. All right. So now we have we talk about in terms of language. For example, I recap. We talk about passive voice. Dia tak boleh nak baca passive voice. Second one, we talk about acronym. Okay, we talk about punctuations. We talk about inconsistency, especially regarding British and American English in terms of the vocabulary used. It has also problems dari segi penggunaan past participle. Past participle pun Google Translate somehow tak boleh nak baca sangat. Okay, in terms especially when past participle bertukar menjadi adjective. Okay, so ada masalah kat situ. Alright, so now we are now talking about let us move on to the translation aspect. There are a few not a few, there are actually only 3. Okay, there are 3 aspects here. For the first issue, okay, before that, I just would like to remind you that while discussing this, there will be a few jargons, a few terms used normally in translation field. Okay, those terms will be coming out after this. For example, for the first one is the word transposition. Apa benda tu? Transposition. Transposition is actually alright. Transposition is actually okay. What is transposition, Arin?
Tempat. Peralihan tempat, is it? Betul?
Transposition, yeah, lebih kurang macam tu. Transposition is actually dia macam
kedudukan, is it? Beralih kedudukan, is it? Sometimes
Okay. For example, the use of wrong word class. Yalah, bila kita berubah, ada benda yang tak berubah. For example, transposition, contohnya, ada a few tokoh dalam bahasa like Vinay and Dalbernard, okay, tokoh dalam, I would say these are scholars in translation area field, referred to transposition as changing word class, kan word class like noun, verbs, yeah, without changing meaning. Dia bertukar tapi tak bertukar maksud. Okay, this refers when translator biasanya tanpa berfikir change the word type, such as from nouns to verbs. Okay, and they considered transposition to be either obligatory or optional, and referred to the okay, let me give an example. Contoh, tingkat ekonomi Johor. Tajuk, headline. Normally kan tajuk in newspaper kita buat macam tak ada imbuhan, tak ada apa. Okay, tingkat ekonomi Johor. Alright, you know what happened when it was translated? Johor economic level. Level betul-betul tingkat. Bukan meningkatkan. Sebenarnya kita maksudkan meningkatkan. So itu yang kata dia tak boleh nak membaca word class. Sebenarnya verb, kata kerja tingkat tu, bukan noun, bukan tingkat sebagai dia kata nama. Yes, context, because they can't think of the context, right? Banyak tu. Ada lagi contoh, setiap pembelian dan penjualan emas public gold. We talk about setiap pembelian dan penjualan, itu kata nama, pembelian, okay, dan penjualan, tapi ditukar sebagai any buy or sell gold. Any buy or sell gold. Buy or sell. Sebenarnya we are actually referring to noun, kata nama, not verb. Tapi dia tu bila tukar ke bahasa Inggeris, when was translated to bahasa Inggeris, dia jadi verb. So different. That is what we call by transposition. Position dia tu tak di transfer sebetulnya. So ada isu di situ. Alright. And then kita juga ada isu literal translation. Speaking of literal translation, what does it mean by literal? Contoh, Arin tu macam singa. Contoh. So orang sebenarnya orang kata singa, sebenarnya kita refer kat personality dia, ataupun kata Arin tu macam madu lah. Macam madu pun personality. No, we are referring something beyond the context. So kita macam menyamakan the ciri-ciri yang sama, the traits, the common traits that they have. Like madu sweet. Kita nak kata Arin is sweet. So that is what we call by literal translation. If you ever heard, sometimes people kata, don't take it literal lah. Don't take it too literally. Janganlah ambil apa yang saya cakap ni sebagai betul-betul perkataan tu. That's what it calls sebiji. Bukan serius, Arin. Macam apa yang didengar, yang tu lah. Contohnya, garang macam singa. Dia bukan singa lah. Itu orang yang take it literal. No, kita sebenarnya menyatakan dia punya personality wise tu, you know, common traits that they have, that they share. Alright, so literal translation, lagi sekali contohnya macam pengerusi puncak semangat tadi tu. Pengerusi puncak semangat. So literal translated proper nouns ni, which not to be translated sebenarnya tak payah kalau proper noun. Okay. But ditukarkan sebagai excitement picture man juga. So kat situ isunya timbul. So kat situ what else? Transposition. Bagi I transposition tu macam interesting sebenarnya. Isu tu selalu jadi. Alright, then okay, we also have other issue like sentence structure or word order. Word order dia tak kena. Ni selalu berlaku. I as a translator, which I admit that sometimes I use Google Translate, I know how much trouble they have, you know, for those who try to come up with the best work with good quality, memang akan ada masalah dengan Google Translate. Alright, contoh kita nak cakap, okay, the errors actually occur when it involve figures or proper noun. Ada je figures dengan proper noun, dia terus dia macam kelang kabut. Alright, for example, PM jamin hasil GST diguna untuk kebaikan rakyat. Contoh ayatnya. Kelas. Alright. So when it was translated, dia akan jadi PMGST, Revenue Guarantee.
PMGST, okay.
PMGST, Revenue Guarantee. Dia nak kata macam PM, lepas tu sebelah tu GST. Dia ingat PM dengan GST ni benda yang sama kot. You know, dua-dua akronim duduk sebelah, gabung sekali. PMGST, Revenue, hasil, you know, Guarantee, jamin. Oh, PMGST, Revenue Guarantee. Memang these four words memang tak masuk sebenarnya. Memang dia punya word order or sentence structure tu tak kena, tak mendatangkan maksud yang sesuai. Use for the benefits for the people. Alright, so we can see lah. There are a lot more. For example, okay, yang paling simple. Contoh ayat tu, mampu membantu meningkat ekonomi Johor. We talk about ekonomi Johor. When the translation version of ekonomi Johor is economic Johor. Sebenarnya Johor economic. Sebab terbalik lah kan English kan?
Yes.
So dia jadi macam tu. Alright, what else? There are a lot more. Contohnya kalau ada, kan I told you errors occur when it involve figures or proper noun. Contohnya ada lagi. Smart utility berharga RM1,650. Okay. So dia akan keluar macam ni kat sini, macam 1,650 smart utility priced. Tak kena.
Yes.
So still you have to, ni. And different languages may differ. This is something to all listeners whom, who are listening. I actually, from what we discussed, I used comparison from Bahasa Melayu to English. So, but different languages may differ in their syntactic structure in general. For instance, the placement of the adjective in Malay text sentences is after the noun, while English put adjective before noun. Contohnya, baju itu cantik. Adjective datang kemudian kan, baju dulu. Okay, so when it comes to English, beautiful dress. So beautiful adjective comes first, then only the noun. Okay, so probably in Tamil language lain, Mandarin lain, Cantonese lain, Arabic lain. So it differs. So that's why when I talk about transposition, word order, literal translation, whatsoever, it is actually referring to, I would say, restricted to Bahasa Melayu, being translated to English. Alright, so dia berlainan lah. It can be in many ways.
Okay, Ms.Wan. Looks like you just have a limit time.
Okay, limited time. Limited time. Alright, sure. Alright, so okay. Anyway, automated translation these days, has become popular among translators. Memang popular.
Yes.
Okay, and as a translator, I myself, I would say I acknowledge the fact that Google Translate is not perfect. Okay, it just can help us. Okay, in somehow or other construct the sentences. But most portion of the efforts comes from us. We need to use our brain to differentiate, to vet the whole thing. But that is I am speaking in the perspective of a translator. But for my students, for example, some of them, they came to me and they asked me, Miss, can I use Google Translate to? I asked them for what? For what purpose? They say, I sometimes have to translate a work from. They have to come up with memo. I teach working adult learners, right? So they have to come up with memo to be sent to the clients in the company. So they use Google Translate. I told them there's no harm using it, but you need to have knowledge. You can have the knowledge.
Yes.
Especially knowledge pasal word class. Benda very simple. So you have to know what is verbs, what is nouns and all, right? But dalam proses nak belajar, in learning process, guna pun tak ada masalah. There's no harm using it. Sebab dia tu boleh menggalakkan kita lagi, Because sometimes when we come across things that we cannot translate it into the language that we want, the targeted language, kita akan jadi demotivated. So nak mengelakkan from the demotivation, overcoming you can find ways. Like one of them is using Google Translate. Boleh diguna pakai, but from time to time you have to know how to improve on the quality of the results. Right.
Okay, thank you to Ms.Wan, and insyaAllah next week kita akan kembali lagi.
Alright, so next week, same time, same day, I'll be coming with the topic in my Facebook. Alright.
Okay.
So I think that's all for yeah. So it's dah masuk season 2 kan. So season 2, as I promised, our topics will not be on the basic level. Kan before this basic level, we talk about adjective, we talk about word class and all. So now we are going further, higher.
Yes.
Alright, so I think that's all for today. Thank you so much to all listeners. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.